Nano Banana 3 just dropped. It's CRAZ. Ayo, Jesse, time to cook up some content.
Today we're cooking more than just the blue stuff. We're cooking AI avatars on autopilot.
Nano Banana is crazy, but you know what's crazier? 1, 2, 3.
This automation uses Nano Banana to create AI avatars that look
and sounds like you. Ready to create your own avatar? So you just saw my AI avatar in action across multiple scenes. And the entire sequence is created using this n8n automation that I built. And I know it's not 100% perfect, but keep in mind that this is the worst that the technology is ever going to be. And the scary thing is, it's only going to get better from here. So I've spent 1,000+ hours building out AI automations. And this system specifically combines the new Nano Banana model as well as VO3 and ElevenLabs to create what you just saw. Unlimited AI avatars of yourself in any scenario that you can picture. So in this video, I'll be showing you the exact n8n automation that makes this whole thing possible. I'll also be walking you through how to clone your voice so it sounds exactly like you, as well as how to set up the entire system for yourself. And if you stick around until the end, I'll be giving away the complete template entirely for free. So if you're new to the channel, I've never seen my face before, I'm Nemisi, and on this channel I show you how to build AI systems that work. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So this is the n8n workflow that makes it possible to create your own AI avatar. There's a lot going on here, and I'll be walking you through the specific node setup, the thinking behind each of one of these nodes. But first I want to start this video with a live demonstration of creating an AI UGC ad with your own AI avatar. So we're using Telegram just as a way to start and manage the chat with this workflow. So we can jump over to Telegram and get this started. You can see that I've just been playing around with it, creating Labubu ads, but anyway. So you can jump into creating an ad here. So we're going to have these two images. You can see here that it's just an image of me and an image of a Stanley Cup, and we're just going to create a new ad using those two images. So here are the two images, and once you've uploaded them, we need to actually send them as a zip. That's just because of the way the n8n automation is set up, and I'll jump into why it's like that. But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and send a prompt to this workflow. You can see that there's two parts to this. There's an edit request as well as a video generation request. So the edit request is gonna go straight to Nano Banana, and that will make the edits that we really want for the images. And then the video generation will go to VO3 Fast, and that'll create the actual AI ad like the ones you saw in the beginning of the video. So if you can walk through this, you can see specifically what we're saying. So I'm just saying create an image with the man holding the Stanley Cup in an all-white photo studio, make the image 16:9, make it UGC focused, and then a very simple video generation prompt here. So create an ad with the man holding the Stanley Cup, he's advertising the cup, choose appropriate dialogue and cinematography, you have full creative freedom. So we're just going to see what it comes up with. It's always a bit of a random thing, so we're just going to execute this workflow and get this started. So you can see here that the workflow started and it's actually waiting for approval. But before I just jump to that approval message, I just want to talk through some of the things here. So we uploaded the image, we unzipped it, and we analyzed each one of those images just so we can get a description of what's specifically in the image. And we pass that description to the Nano Banana prompt agent, and that Nano Banana prompt agent takes our initial request that we sent over with the images as well as the image descriptions and creates a prompt for Nano Banana to edit the images. So we send that image over to Nano Banana, and then we send that back to the user just for approval. So here the workflow has stopped, and that's because we're getting approval for the image, which will be turned into an ad. Because sometimes when you send out a prompt to Nano Banana, it doesn't precisely get it right 100% of the time. So it's always good to approve some of the images and reject others. So you can see here, here's the image. I don't think it's too bad. So you can go ahead and work with this image. So I'm just going to respond to it. It's going to open up a web page here, and we can just click approve. And if we decide to reject it, we'll add a reason, and then it will recreate the image with the reason. But we'll walk through that in a moment. So you can see over here that we've approved it, and it's gone over to the VO3 prompt agent, and that VO3 prompt agent will create the video generation prompt that will be sent over to VO3 Fast. And once the video is finished generating, we're going to go ahead and send it over to ElevenLabs to generate a voiceover, and we're going to splice it together using Shotstack API, and we're going to send everything back to the user on Telegram. So I'll be back once that video is complete. So you can see that the workflow is just completed, and it's even sent us a drive file where you can go ahead and watch the video. So if we click on that, we can just watch the video together and see what it produced. This Stanley tumbler keeps my drinks cold all day. Never leave home without it.
So
So that was the first video which it produced. It wasn't too bad, but we can go ahead and regenerate a new video, but we'll actually ask for edits on the image which it produces. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to send over the exact same prompt as well as images, but once the workflow asks for approval, we're going to reject it, and then we're going to put in a new prompt to see how the system handles that. So here's the new image which is just waiting for approval. We can have a look at it. I think the character consistency is starting to drop a little bit, but it's not too off. But besides that, we want to try and see if we can put this Stanley logo in place of this North Face logo over here. So we're going to prompt the agent and workflow to do that, and we'll see how that handles. So we can just come into this n8n form, we can click reject, and I'm going to add the rejection reason right here. So just added this rejection reason here, saying ensure that the facial features of the man don't change, and also additionally replace the North Face logo on the man's shirt with the Stanley logo. So I've just clicked on submit, and the workflow is going to go ahead and create a new image that we can approve or reject. So here's the new image which was produced. We can see that the facial features are a lot more intact with what it actually looked like, but it didn't actually listen to the prompt with changing the Stanley logo. So we can re-prompt it to see if it can listen to that. So we can see here that the new image has been produced, and the logo has indeed changed. That's on my chest. Maybe the face is not identical to me, but it's close enough. You know, these models are still developing every single day. I think that's good. We can go ahead and generate an ad with this image. So we can go ahead and click on open and just approve this workflow. So we can submit that and generate the AI UGC ad. So the workflow has started again, and it's going to go ahead and produce that VO3 video, and I'll show you that output once it's ready. Okay, perfect. The workflow has just completed, so we can go ahead and watch the video together.
This Stanley tumbler seriously keeps my water icy cold all day long, no spills ever.
So yeah, I think that adds a whole lot better than the first one. Maybe the character consistency is not the best, but I think that's more on the VO3 side rather than the Nano Banana. But like I said, the technology is getting better every single day, and before you know it, you'll have your AI avatar that looks identical to you. So yeah, let's just jump straight into the workflow, and I'll walk you through specifically what's happening behind the scenes, as well as how to set up your own voice cloning once we get to that step. So if you just jump into the system defaults, this is just a node that has some of the workflow defaults which you can come in and change. We've got the bot token, the video generation model, aspect ratio, voice, video width, and video height, as well as the prompt. So I'll break each one of these down. So the bot token is essentially the token of this bot which you're interacting on with Telegram. I'll link a video up here to set up a Telegram bot. I can't walk through that through this video, otherwise it'll be way too long. Essentially, you're going to set that up and you're going to get a bot token, and it's going to allow the workflow to talk specifically to this Telegram chat, and that will allow the orchestration of the automation to happen. So next up, we've also got the video generation model. We're using Kie AI. I'll jump over to the website in a moment, but they've got two video generation models. They've got VO3 Fast as well as normal VO3. So we're using VO3 Fast because it's a whole lot cheaper than VO3, and the quality decrease from VO3 Fast to VO3 is really not that noticeable. And I think the cost of using VO3 Fast is a whole lot more worth it than paying all that much for VO3. And then you can also choose the aspect ratio of the video, so you can choose 16:9 or 9:16, depending on if you want to create like a short video or a long form video. And then you've also got the voice, so you can either use the default voice, so the voice that VO3 selects for you, or you can use a custom voice. So if you don't want to go ahead and clone your voice, the system will still work. You just need to change this setting to default, and the workflow will be able to use the voice which is created with the VO3 video. And we've also got the video width and video height here. That's just because it's required by the Shotstack API. And we're using Shotstack just to put the voiceover on the video automatically, so you don't have to go into your Premiere Pro or your Adobe or CapCut to put everything into one. So it's done for you automatically. And then we're just standardizing the prompt, and that's just the edit request that you sent over in your initial message. So that's the system defaults. And then we're just sending over status, and then we're creating a video generation folder in Google Drive, and I'll show that folder to you now. So this is the folder. You can see everything is nicely organized. So you've got the original images there, as well as the audio, and the final video which was produced. So you've got everything nicely organized in a Google Drive file. So once that folder's been created, we're just checking if the message is a zip file or not. So you can see here that it has one item that was sent to the workflow, but if you were to send more than one photo, say 2, it would create 2 items, and then everything in this workflow would run twice, and that would break the system. So that's why we have to zip the workflow and go through each one of those images individually. But if it's not a zip file, we just download the image using Telegram, and we just analyze that single image right there. So we do that individually here for that single image, but if it's a zip, we analyze the images one by one. So you can see here, we've got the 2 images. So we've got image 1 there, as well as image 2 right there. And we just analyze them individually and upload them onto Google Drive, as you saw there. And to get a public URL from Google Drive, you just need to change the permissions on your specific file which you just created. So if I just jump into this node, you can see here that the role is reader and the type is anyone. This will allow basically anyone on the internet to access that specific link. And that'll be very useful because of the way that the FAL.ai API works, and it needs a public URL. And we just put that all together like this. So you can see here that we've got the web content link. So if I just grab this and I just open an incognito tab, you'll see that it will just automatically download the image with no stress and no worries. So you can see it's a publicly accessible link. I'm not going to download it because I've already got the image, but you get the idea. So that's why we upload it, and then we're just analyzing the images like I've covered. So here's the next part of the automation, which is very important. It's the Nano Banana prompt agent along with the rectification agent, and they work together to produce the images that you actually want. So if I just jump into this node, you can see here that the prompting is very extensive, and I've spent like the past 6 days trying to get this prompt really refined so that you can get the images that you really are looking for. So yeah, go ahead, download the template down below, and you'll have this prompt all for yourself. So then we're going to go ahead and upload that prompt onto FAL.ai. I'm not going to jump into FAL.ai right now. This is a great place and a great platform. So if you want a full video on FAL.ai, just drop your comments down below and I'll get onto it. But yeah, FAL.ai is essentially just an aggregator for AI models like image to video, video to video, audio to video, you name it, it's probably on FAL.ai. And yeah, it's just a really great platform to access models across a whole host of providers. So you can see here that we just connected the credentials and we're using the Nano Banana endpoint and URL right there. And if we just go to the JSON body, you can see that we're pasting 2 things. We're producing the prompt, which is essentially what was created by the AI agent. You can see that it produces quite hefty prompts, and that's the best way to get the generation which you want. And then we're also sending over the image URLs for the input images. So if it's 1 image, it'll just send the 1 image, but if it's the 2 images, you can see that it'll send 2 because it's an array here. You can see that the second element starts here, so you've got the 0 element, because the way that arrays work is they start counting in zeros. So you've got element 0 and then element 1. So we're just sending that over to FAL.ai so it understands the images which need to be edited, and it goes ahead and starts the edit. So FAL.ai won't give you the final image immediately. It has to wait for the generation, and the way that you check the status of the generation is through polling. So we're gonna have a wait node. It just doesn't take that long. It's 5 seconds right here. And then we're just checking the status using the URL which is returned by the start of the edit, and then you can see that the status will be completed or something else or processing. And if it's completed, we go ahead with the rest of the workflow onto the approval, but if it's not, we just go ahead and re-loop the system, waiting 5 seconds and checking the status again. So once the edit is complete, we send the image over to Telegram like you saw, just to get the approval. So we're just passing in the URL which is returned by FAL.ai in this node right here. And then straight after that, we've got a human in the loop system. So that's just a send and wait message node in n8n for Telegram. So yeah, we're just saying image approval required. The same chat ID which was used to start the workflow is used there. I'm just saying approval, and yeah, we've just got 2 options as you saw in the demo. You can either approve it or you can reject it, and if you reject it, you can just add a reason which will be used by the rectification agent, which I'm about to walk through. So here's the rectification agent. Its system prompt is very similar to the actual AI generation prompt, but it's been specifically adapted to change the output which was in the first prompt. But the next part is a system message. I'm just going to skim over it because it's very similar to the first one, but just with a few tweaks, and I'll just go over that. So you can see here that we just given a new role. It's a rectification agent for Google's Nano Banana models, and then the task is to analyze the rejected image generations and fix the original prompts to address user concerns. You will receive the original user request, description of the original images the user is looking to edit, the initial prompt that was generated, a description of the produced image, and the user's rejection reason. Your job is to modify the original prompt to rectify the specific issues raised by the user while maintaining all other successful aspects of the generation. Just giving it the task and a bit of context of what it needs to do, and then very similar, we've got some steps and best practices that it should follow when creating the prompt. But more specifically, we're saying keep the prompt, don't do too much to change the prompt, but just make the edits to the prompt that will get an image that is more in line with what the user is looking for. That's essentially what we're looking for. So for the model, we're just using O4 mini and with a low temperature, so that just means it will try and follow the system prompt really precisely. And I would like to use GPT-5, but GPT-5, if you've been using the API, has just been very slow right now. So if that speed actually starts to increase again, I'll probably switch to GPT-5 mini because it's cheaper and the reasoning capability is very on par with O4 mini right here. So we're using O4 mini because we need to reason through this problem, and creating prompts is a very big ask from AI agents, so that's why we should use the reasoning models, and we provided a think tool which is used sometimes and other times it doesn't. But yeah, the structured output parser is just literally to make sure that it produces a prompts array like that. Nothing crazy going on there. So once that image has been approved, we go ahead to the VO3 prompt agent, and you can see here that it's a very extensive prompt as well, following best practices. I spent my time 7 days trying to get this really good for you guys, so go ahead, take it like I said, but I'll just skim over the system prompt as well as the user message. So let's go into the system prompt right here. So we just got a core identity, primary role, elite VO3 video generation specialist, focus on transforming edited images into compelling video content. So we just got some processing methodology. So phase 1, request analysis, look at the request and just really understand it. That's what we explained to the agent there. We've got phase 2, subject reference. The model you're prompting has no knowledge of any images. I'll just go through it. We've also got phase 2 of its process, which is subject reference. This is just very important to make sure that it's prompting correctly. So the reason I added this section to the prompt was because this AI agent was referencing the original images which were sent over in the Telegram chat, which VO3 would not have any knowledge of because we're only sending over the final Nano Banana edited image. So that's why I added it. So just to make sure that the prompt which it sends over to VO3 makes sense with the context which it will have with the final image. Just got creative development, technical optimization, and a whole lot of other best practices which I'm not going to go into. If you want to really read this, go ahead and do that. And maybe if you want to make changes because you're not happy with the way videos are coming out, be my guest, go ahead and use this as a starting point for your own automations here. So once the prompt has been curated, you're going to send it over to Kie AI, and Kie AI is also just a great aggregator for these models, and its VO3 Fast model is very cheap. I think it's like 40 cents for an 8-second video compared to like FAL, where you want to use VO3 Fast, which is like I think $1 or $2 for a very similar length clip. So yeah, Kie AI very cheap for VO3 Fast generation. If I just jump into this, we've just got the prompt, which is produced by the agent, as well as the image URLs right there with the model VO3 Fast and the aspect ratio. So similar to FAL.ai, the video needs to be processed, and that does take a bit of time. So that's why we have this wait node here, and we've got 2 minutes because video generation just takes a whole lot longer than just editing images. So that's why we have a 2-minute wait there. And then we check the status to see. That's just something I want to touch on. So then the next thing that we're doing is we're just checking if you had selected that you want a default voice or a custom voice. If you want a custom voice, it'll go ahead and use the voice clone that's on ElevenLabs. But if you want a default voice, it'll just go ahead and upload the file onto your Telegram. So let's go through how we're able to add our own custom voice onto the videos which are produced. We have the binary data for that specific video. Upload that binary data into ElevenLabs. The create voiceover endpoint, and you can see here that you're able to select drop down your specific voice. So let's jump over into ElevenLabs, and I'll show you how you're able to clone your voice as well as connect it to n8n. So this is ElevenLabs, This is what it's going to look like once you sign in. And to create a clone of your voice, where it says create or clone voice, and you've got that sounds specifically and identically like you. I recommend that you go with this one. But with that being said, you have to pay for the $20 a month plan. But if you want like a quick one where you're not really too concerned of how similar it sounds to you, just go with the $5 plan and you can use this instant voice clone right now, a whole bunch of audios, or you can record audio using a microphone here. I recommend, or if you don't have a microphone, just use your headphones and send to 10 clips of 30 seconds. So then you're going to be prompted to upload some voice clips of yours. What I recommend that you do is just maybe if you have like a YouTube video or whatnot that you have, upload that here, and there'll be plenty of material that you can pull from to really synthesize. But if not, I just recommend that you click this record audio, use headphones, use a microphone if you have, and just have a 10-second clip of you speaking into the microphone, and it'll cut, and then have 10 of those, and then you'll have a decent enough sounding voice that can replicate your voice, not identically. If you want like an identical one where that will literally sound like you, people will not be able to distinguish. But if not, just go ahead and just use the instant voice clone. It's good enough to get the job done. Once you've created your voice, you'll see it, and your voice is free. And you can see that I've also just been trying to test this, trying to get it as close to my voice as possible. Maybe I've just got a weird accent, I don't know. So maybe your voice clone might sound a whole lot more closer to you than mine does to me. So yeah, if you just want to really play around with that, try and say different things in your voice notes that you send over to create your clone, just trying to get it as accurate as possible. So once you have your voice, it will appear there. And to connect your ElevenLabs to n8n, just click on develop. You're going to create a key. I'm not going to copy it because I've already got my key. But once you have your key, you're just going to jump over back to your n8n, click on ElevenLabs account or create a and paste that key in right there. And then the voice clone which you just created will appear in this drop down list, so there's nothing that you need to do. But if you can't find it there, go by ID and come back into your ElevenLabs. Just go to my voices there as well. Go to my voice top panel, your voice ID. You can just jump back straight into n8n and click on by ID and paste that ID in there, and it'll be connected to your voice clone. Nothing else that you need to do there. So once we've got on that voiceover, we're just going to upload it into our Google Drive so we can get a publicly accessible URL, very similar to FAL, because we need that URL to edit the video and soundtrack together. And I'm just going to walk through this node right here, and I'll also jump over to the Shotstack website so you can just understand what's happening. So we've got this endpoint and URL here, we're just sending a post request to. So Shotstack has two endpoints. You can see here the V1, that's what will determine the endpoint which is used. And we're using the V1 here, which is a production, and that costs credits. But they've also got the V2, which is free, but you'll have a specific watermark on your videos when you produce them. So we're just going to use the V1 here, but if you want to use the free version, just change this to V2, as well as the production key which you'll use. I'll talk about that, setting that up right now. But you've just got your Shotstack production key and your Shotstack stage key. You just make sure they match. So if you change this to V2, make sure you're using the stage key. So this is Shotstack. I'm not going to go into it. It's going to be a whole video in itself because it's just got a whole host of functionality that you can do. I'm just going to talk through some of these keys here. So you just got the sandbox and the production. Like I said, the sandbox is free and doesn't use credits, but you'll have the watermark. So just make sure that if you want to go ahead and use that sandbox, use this key right here. But if you're going to be doing production and you don't want the watermark, use the other key and make sure that they match the endpoints which you're using. Remember, it's V1 for production and V2 for the stage. So I'm just going to walk through this JSON body right here. So we're just uploading that soundtrack. The soundtrack is just a voiceover which was created on ElevenLabs with a volume of 0.8 because sometimes it just comes out a bit too loud. This is between 0 and 1, so you can change the audio if it's too soft for you. And then also just add the link to the final video generation with a volume of 0 because we don't want the two audios to be messed up. And then we just output it as MP4, and then the aspect ratio and width and height, like we went through in the beginning, in the system defaults are just automatically put in there. So that's the posting the request to Shotstack. And then like the other APIs, we need to wait for that edit to happen, and we just have a wait node for 30 seconds. So if the generation is complete, we just download the edit and just upload it into Google Drive and send over a message on our Telegram. So I just want to quickly touch on the pricing of some of the models that we're using here. So we're on FAL.ai right now, just using the Nano Banana edit. And if I just jump over to the pricing here, you can see that it's 4 cents per image, which is not bad at all. I just want to touch on also the video generation cost. So we're using Kie AI, which is a whole lot cheaper than using FAL for video generation. And you can also see here that the cost of a VO3 video is 40 cents, also quite cheap. Let's now compare my workflow to using something like Synthesia or HeyGen, more specifically the prices and also some of the limitations which these platforms might have. There's no bias here, I'm just looking at the facts. Let's look at what you get for some of the tiers which are right here. If we look at the basic plan, you get 3 minutes of video per month. I don't even think you can create your own AI avatar. Also, you can't create a video of you holding a Stanley bottle or in a video with Jesse Pinkman or Walter White, so that's a bit of a drawback depending on how you look at it. But yeah, if you wanted to create your own AI avatar, you're looking at the other plans, which are $18 a month and $64 a month, where you're creating the same thing or even better depending on your use case, using a whole lot cheaper n8n workflow. So that's just something I want to touch on quickly. So like I said, if you want access to this template, you can go to the description down below. It'll be the first link in the description. And if you're a business owner looking for help with AI strategy and implementation, you can book your free audit using the second link in the description down below. So if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and also maybe the subscribe button too. If you have any questions, comments or concerns, you can leave them down below and I'll get back to them as fast as possible. And yeah, best believe this is not the last automation that you'll see using Nano Banana. I've got a whole lot more ideas and workflows which I'll probably be building out in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for those videos. But yeah, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video and peace.